bad days to come as a direct result of some of the decisions that were made here in the debacle that we're seeing play out on TV today.
Jane, the UN ambassador from Afghanistan told the UN a couple of weeks ago that al-Qaeda, ISIS are among 20 terror groups now inside Afghanistan. 5,500 terror attacks since April. Thousands have been killed. Your reaction to that report? We're seeing women being pushed back to the 7th century in Afghanistan, forced marriages with teenagers, too, with Talibanis, terrorists. What do you say to all of that?
You know, it's horrifying again. I've been hearing from people on the ground. I was just in Afghanistan in June, went over their commercial airlines to go be with the Afghan people. And we have to do better as a nation. This is time to get to work as a nation for our future. We have to learn from our mistakes, figure out what went wrong and how we're going to go forward, get our people off the ground. And yeah, it's horrifying to know that there's terrorist groups on the ground, and the Afghan people deserve better than this as well. We are better as America. You know, and all the thought leaders. Go ahead, Mia.
No, go ahead. Finish your thought.
Just that we have got to get work and we have to do better. Again, I'm seeing a lot of blaming, but I want to see action. I want to see what we're going to do next. I want to make sure we learn from this and that more service members aren't put in a situation like my husband where he's attached to something like this, because there's better for our country. People have given so much, and we have got to do something for our hearts, which is America.
We hear the emotion in your voice, Jane. You're upset right now about what you're saying, right?
Of course I'm upset. It's horrifying. You know, I haven't slept in 4 days. I finally slept last night. I've been on the phone with over 400 calls yesterday from service members trying to get their translators out. This isn't red or blue. This is something as a country that we have got to fix. And if we don't start looking at us as a holistic country, we're never going to fix it. And so, you know, when I lost my husband, I started investing in the military community and the Afghan people. And my community of military is completely broken. That, you know, the Afghan people are in shambles right now. Their hearts are broken. And all I have left is my country. And I don't want to see it so divided, because all we have is each other. And I don't care what you think. I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican. You are my people. And we will come together as a nation. We will learn from this and we will do better.
You know, people would say that's exactly the message we need to hear now, Congressman, you know, in order to come together so we can stop getting distracted with division and you know, disunity. It's in order to come together to avoid the mistakes. We had NSA Sullivan today. He wouldn't answer why Biden reportedly ignored generals in intelligence report. Why did the U.S. give up Bagram Air Force Base to the Taliban? You know, the NSA Sullivan, he admitted the Taliban has, quote, a fair amount of our military hardware. We're talking guns, ammunition, helicopters. Listen to this from the Pentagon presser yesterday. Watch this.
So there's no U.S. actions being taken to prevent equipment from falling into the hands of the Taliban by destroying it or anything else?
I don't have that answer to that question.
What do you think?
Look, I agree with Ms. Horton. We need to get past the blame eventually, but we do have to find out exactly why this happened. And I hope in the House that we have hearings and we bring these people in and we figure out what information was passed to the president. And did he not get the information? Did he ignore the information? Who dropped the ball? And I think need to be some people that need to be held responsible and move on, because we've obviously got some people in certain roles that are incapable of doing their job because they let this happen. So we need to figure out what's happening. We need to refocus. We need to keep our eye on the ball. You know, in the Foreign Affairs Committee and Armed Services for months now, ever since I've been in Congress on January 3rd, we've not addressed issues like this. We've talked about other things. We've been talking about gender nomenclature, transgenders. We've been talking about white supremacy and, and extremism in the military and critical race theory and all these other issues. And we haven't been talking about issues that are important to us for our national security. And we've got to get back. We've got to protect this nation first and foremost. And we have to come together as Democrats and as Republicans. And we have to take our national security seriously.
Okay, we hear you loud and clear. Democrat Senator Jack Reed of Armed Services, he's talking about launching hearings after we evacuate our Americans. Reports coming in that, this was of course, a fast Taliban takeover that the Biden administration didn't see coming. That's the question. Even last month, Jane, you know, the president was putting out statements this would not be like the fall of Saigon when it did turn into that. You know, he's been criticized in the past, though. He's been vice president for 8 years, Senate Foreign Relations as a senator during this 20-year fight in Afghanistan. You remember President Obama said Biden opposed the raid that killed Osama bin Laden. So this is about who is leading us and whether or not they're acting on the intelligence they get, right, Jane?
I think that there's, you know, I'm not going to play the blame game. I can't. What's little of my heart cannot play that game right now. But there's multiple administrations that have been involved in this. You know, there's incredibly painful conversations that are happening now. And I ask the American people, you know, this is what happens again when we are divided and also when we don't pay attention to what's going on in the country. And I've noticed it for years. I get asked all the time, we're still in Afghanistan, what's going on over there? And it breaks my heart, you know, because you have men and women that are going over there, leaving their families, people that are dying, little babies that are being left behind, little girls that lost their dad. And we've got to start paying attention because our government represents us, whether we like that or not. And so that's the message.
Yeah, we hear you. It's an important message. Congressman, final word on this. Why the intelligence failures? Why?
I don't know. We need to get to the bottom of that. I don't know if there were intelligence failures. The intelligence wasn't produced. But, you know, we've been around for a long time. We've been in Afghanistan for 20 years. We should have known this. There are a lot of simple problems happen here. I mean, we should not have had one way out of the country before we got everybody out. We should have kept a presence in Bagram. We should have maintained that airfield, and we should have got people slowly over to Bagram and got American citizens and the Afghan interpreters and everybody else we needed to get out of there. We should have started that process, and that should have drug out for a long time until we were all clear before we created this situation here. Now we're in a really bad spot where we don't have a lot of good answers right now because we have the Taliban controlling the perimeter. And I don't know that we can get these people in time. I hope we can. I pray that we can.
Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your insights, Jane Horton and Congressman Ronny Jackson. We really appreciate you coming on and for your service to our country. It's good to have you both on. Well.